Hey guys, I just kind of wanted to make a quick video kind of explaining, I guess, what kind of happened this week, especially in response or follow-up to my previous video that I posted earlier, and I apologize now if anything doesn't make sense or whatnot. It's been crazy and I haven't really had much sleep. So, yeah. Basically, like I said in my last video, my dad had a massive stroke on March 30th, Saturday, March 30th. They started TPA as treatment, which is a very strong clot-busting medicine, and March 31st, Sunday morning, he had been improving greatly, and the doctors, were, very confident that he was going to make a complete recovery in this all, and they had checked on him, and they went in to check on him, not, 15, 20 minutes later, and he was unresponsive, and he ended up developing a brain bleed as a complication from the TPA, which is something that can happen. So they ended up having to do an emergency craniotomy where they took off, his right skull flap. So, because the swelling was so bad, they did that Sunday morning, Sunday about, early or late morning, early afternoon. Later that evening, he was, rather stable and he was slightly improving. He was still really sick, but they were, he had made it through surgery, which they didn't think he was going to do, and so, they thought, well, maybe he actually will make it through this. Then Monday, April 1st, early that morning, he started deteriorating again, and when they were doing, I guess, their morning report switch off, they noticed that he had lost his corneal reflexes and his gag reflexes, and they called and told my mom that they needed to get down there quick. It was very grim looking, and I had spoken with the doctor and also the nurse at this point, and they really weren't expecting him to live, more than a couple hours. And of course, at this time, I was still 6 hours away. I had planned on coming, and I wasn't going to get home until Monday night. This was all happening Monday morning. So they said that they were going to try to keep his body alive until I could get there, but they could not make promises, which I completely understood. So about 10 to 6 on, so it's 5:50ish, Monday, April 1st, they declared him brain dead, which, to be honest, when I got a phone call Sunday morning telling me that they were going to have to do this emergency surgery, because of swelling in his brain, I really did not expect him to live at this time, or at that point. I just really didn't have a feeling he was going to survive this. And so, especially after talking to the doctor on Monday morning and the nurse, and I really, I knew he was not, there was no chance of him surviving this. But they were able to keep him alive until I got to town, and I got to town about 2 hours after they declared him brain dead. No one had told me prior to me getting to the hospital that he was officially declared brain dead. but like I said, I knew that he wasn't going to make it by that time. I just hadn't, expressed that feeling to any of my family because I just could not tell my mom something like that. So yeah, we decided to donate my dad's organs, because in the face of such a tragic event, I feel, and my mom feels, and my sister feels, that something good needs to come out of it, and organ donation is something that is very dear to my heart, and I have known both people who have donated organs, like family members who have had their loved ones' organs donated, and I've also known recipients of organ donation, and it really is something dear to my heart, and I think it is a great thing. So Monday night we had decided to donate his organs, and they had planned, to have surgery and do the recovery at noon, anywhere between noon and 2, on Tuesday, April 2nd. So, I had asked, since I had gotten there so late, if it would be alright for me to go and stay at the hospital with him until they did the organ recovery. And of course they said, that was more than fine. Their only concern was, that I had someone there, so they actually had a chaplain who is through the Carolina Donor Services, and he was amazing. Obviously I had my pastor and stuff here who, if I would have needed, would have been able to be there. But it was a blessing that who I interacted with there, was there. God, I fully think, but I fully believe, put me in that situation with those certain people. Because the coordinator for the case, I guess you can say, his daughter has POTS. So he fully understood what I needed. And he made sure that I had Gatorade and salty foods, and it was great. And they kept me very up to date on what was going on. The surgery time kept getting pushed back. When I first got there Tuesday morning, they decided 4 o'clock. And then closer to 4 o'clock, they said 8 to 10 p.m. And I was okay with it, as, my only request was that I got to stay and hold my father's hand until it was time to go to the OR. And they kept running into complications, but I fully believe that was also meant to happen. So, I stayed at the hospital. I was allowed to stay outside of the OR until they called cardiac death at 3:33 a.m. on April 3rd. And I even stayed until organ recovery was completed, which was really nice. I was very honored to be able to see everything that goes in with it, and spend that time. I know my father was not in his body at that time, but it just seemed unjust to not allow him one last goodbye. And so, my family supported me in going, and I know it really helped my mom knowing that I was there with him through to the very end. So, that's pretty much been my week. We had to do, obviously, the funeral arrangements, which we've decided not to do a funeral or a visitation. Monday evening, all his closest friends in the area were there, and said their goodbyes, and we knew he would not want a visitation. We will be having a gathering to celebrate his life at the end of the month, allowing some of his friends. My dad had friends all over the U.S., and there's several people who were going to be driving in, so we had to plan out for a couple weeks from now. So I will be home through the end of April, which is, both a blessing, and it's going to be rough because my symptoms seem to be a lot worse here. And my symptoms are already flared. I'm having crazy issues with those right now. I've had to cancel several doctor's appointments where I was going to have testing done and fittings for things that aren't going to take place now for another month or later. So that's going to put kind of a kink in, treatment. But like I said, I'm happy to be home with my family during this time. And I want to thank everybody for the kind words and the messages that I've been sent. I've shared them with my family, and we greatly appreciate them during this time. I'll try to make a video here before too long to kind of explain that I had a lot of health issues going on before all this happened. I flare-ups. And so I had actually been meaning to make a video before coming home, and then things kind of quickly changed. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and I hope everyone's doing well, and I will talk to y'all later.